LMP1 family, welcome to another episode with Chatting with Steph. Today I have Kevin here with me and we're going to discuss his experience with mental health. So the first question that I have for you, if you could share with the viewers exactly what you were diagnosed with.
So I was diagnosed with low-grade depression and adjustment disorder with anxiety and depressive mood.
And when did you receive your diagnosis?
I received my diagnosis actually on April the 16th of this year.
You have a date?
Yeah,
Now,
I remember.
I think I have the month and the year. I don't know if I have I can guess the date, but I have to verify. So what led you to actually go and get help?
I think one of the biggest things for me was actually my wife, Christy. She was the biggest kind of, I guess, catalyst for me to go and seek for help, as well as Bishop and First Lady, because I think the beginning of this year I kind of was experiencing some real heavy anxiety. I've always experienced anxiety and depression throughout my life, but I guess maybe it wasn't, the level of it wasn't any different, but I was more, I guess, willing to acknowledge it.
So was there ever a period in your life that you felt like you suffered in silence, like you maybe recognized it, like you said, you recognized, you dealt with anxiety, but was there a period that you kept that to just you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably the majority of my life, I kept it to myself. I didn't really let anybody know. I can even remember in my high school days dealing with it, and just I would spend a lot of time in my room by myself. There were days where I would just spend all day sleeping and not really want to come out of my room, not want to, kind of hang out with the family or do those things. So definitely for a majority of part of my life, I probably would say I suffered in silence quite a bit.
What do you think there was a reason or reasons why you felt like you had to?
I think for me, I never wanted to feel like I was a burden on somebody else. And I even still struggle with that today. Because I always look at what other people have going on and what other people have, what other people are dealing with, and I don't want to be a burden on somebody else. And then I think on top of that, being a singer and a worship leader at church, that's one of the things that I struggled with before going to seek help. Because here I am singing, and encouraging other people and lifting other people up, but then going home and dealing with depression and anxiety and dealing with the perceived, I guess, contradiction of that. Because I think sometimes people will look at somebody who's a preacher or a worship leader or in a leadership role at church and think that they're supposed to have it all together. Yeah. And they're supposed to have it, solid and they don't have any problems, but having to encourage people at church and then go home and sometimes wanting it to be over and just wanting to end it all, and like, why am I dealing with this? And the whole contradiction. So I think all of that kind of played into me suffering in silence.
So what, before you were actually diagnosed, and then of course upon receiving the diagnosis, what effect do you feel that, it has on your life, knowing you have this mental illness? Whether it's positive or negative, what impact does it, have on your life, or are there any struggles, as far as day to day, like that you?
Yeah, I think just for me now is accepting it, and knowing that for one that I did the right thing by seeking help, and then also knowing that I'm not alone, I think sometimes the biggest thing when a person, when we're, dealing with anxiety and depression is feeling like you're the only one going through it and you're the only one dealing with it. And I appreciate the platform that you have because it exposes people to the fact that they're not by themselves. And for me, it's a day-to-day thing because some days I do good, some days I do bad, and some days are good days, some days are bad days, and just learning how to cope with it. I think one of the biggest things that my therapist, even from day one, has taught me is that, because I've always wanted to know why I was feeling a certain way, and he was like, it's not really important to know why because there's 1,000 reasons you can come up with why, but it's important to know how to cope with that, those feelings, and get yourself to a better place. And so I had to try to stop trying to figure out why I was feeling that way and really take the steps necessary to not feel that way anymore.
I think sometimes too, I know for me, before even getting help or, knowing that I, had any mental illness, it was that I was trying to figure out what is wrong with me.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like this? Why do I act like this? It was me just trying to figure out, and then two, once I knew, it still was in here like, okay, it's still why though. But yeah, that's a good realization to come to. As okay, not why, but how can I cope with this and deal with this. So, do you feel like you've had any breakthrough regarding your mental health? And if you have, what do you feel like is the biggest, step forward that has come?
One of the breakthroughs I've had, I feel, is I feel less timid in different situations. Before, prime example, like if you go somewhere trying to take care of business and you get one answer and you know that that's not really the answer that you need, so you kind of push back. I was typically the person that would take whatever answer was given to me and just leave because I didn't want to deal with the confrontation. I didn't want to deal with the pushback, so I would just leave with that answer. But there was a particular time when I was out trying to take care of some personal matters, and I noticed that I was more confident in that situation than I would have been in the past. And I was like, wow, I think that the courage it took for me to go seek for helped in just those kind of small situations. So I think that's one of the biggest breakthroughs is I'm finding that I'm a little more, and not all the time, but I'm a little more confident, a little less timid when it comes to situations where I would be a little like, yeah.
So pretty much the courage that you had, like you say, when is carrying over into other things, and I think that's always good when we can take in any situation what you learn. I mean, the best teacher is that experience which you learn, and then start applying it. And that was the difference for me when I first went to therapy. I was getting all these tools and how to cope and but I wasn't applying them. I just got them, and then was still dealing with the same thing. But the difference, fast forward, is I apply it, and then if it works here, let me try it in this situation. If it doesn't, okay, let me go in my little tool bag and see what else I can do. So, since you did share, that there was a period you suffered, in silence, what advice would you give to someone that might be watching or listening to this that is suffering, but they're doing it in silence, they're not opening to anyone, they're just keeping that, in silence themselves?
I think one of the biggest things I would say is that, one, you have a choice. You don't have to. I think sometimes when you are suffering in silence, you feel like you don't have a choice. You feel like you don't have, and that's how I felt like. I was like, I I'm just gonna have to put up with this because I don't really have a choice. And now realizing that I did have a choice, and there, I think that we have to take the stigma, especially off of men, that it's okay for us to go seek for help. I think as men we're taught to suck it up, don't cry. Even as little boys, you fall down, don't you cry, break your knee, don't you cry, get up, keep going. And we're taught and we carry that on in our adulthood and our manhood. And I know there's, I'm not the only man that had suffered in silence. And it's okay to seek for help, it's okay to look for help. And it doesn't make you less of a man, it doesn't make you less of a person, it doesn't make you less of a Christian. It doesn't make you less of a man or a woman of faith to go seek for that help and to go seek for that, because God gave us those people, gave us not only the spiritual leaders but also our mental health leaders to be able to, mental health advocates to be able to help us with those things.
So is there any other encouragement you have for those on either side of this, whether they're ones going through it or they're the family or friends of someone, any type of encouragement that you give?
You have people around you that do love you, that do care about you, and then for those who have someone in their life that are dealing with it, just be that advocate for them. I think it's important to have patience with them, have patience with their days, with their moods. Don't feel like it's you. I think sometimes people who are with someone who's dealing with that, they think it may be them, they may be contributing to it, and a lot of times it has nothing to do with them. But I think it's important for that person to know that you're there for them and that you're supporting them 100%.
Definitely, I think communication in general, like we know, is very important, but even with this, on both sides, just communicating, keeping it open, whether it's how you feel or hating you, it's the time or the case will be. So thank you for your insight, your perspective, and thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Stay tuned because there are more episodes of Chatting.